and stating like a truth, or speaking from a kind place. I know we already talked about it. Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? That is a good measure to think of before you say something. And you know, we don't know what each person, when they come in the front door for a yoga class, we don't know what their day has been like. We don't know if a close family member passed away. We don't know if they've had a difficult day at work. We don't know if they're in a great mood and they're ready to bounce off the walls. So, you know, we have to, you know, approach it with some compassion and receptiveness to listening, and being careful with, you know, not jumping to conclusions. I suggest not making references to people's attire, body parts, to their appearance, if their makeup looks good. You know, I mean, of course, if somebody is just vivacious and full of energy and beautiful, that's one thing, but drawing attention to something that, you know, it's just not necessary, skip it. Yeah, skip it. I think Bobby is next.
Yep. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff there as far as, you know, the ahimsa. You never want to cause harm to your students. You know, I go through that all the time. But as a student coming to yoga for the first time, looking at people doing these, I couldn't even do child's pose. I couldn't even stretch my arms out to do child's pose when I started yoga. So that was my goal. Oh, I can't, let's see if I could ever get my butt down to my backs of my legs, you know? That, and just for me, yoga has been such a powerful, positive experience coming from the other extreme, not looking at someone going, oh, I want to do a handstand, but just being able to get into child's pose. And then, you know, feeling personal growth within yoga and, you know, just all the good things. So I just feel sometimes like a poster child for what yoga can do for you. You know, I'm all about having the good stuff, you know, not about being perfect, but being the person that you're that you have this person in you that you can be. It doesn't have to be that perfect pose, but it can be, you know, letting go of, you know, some stuff, you know, and allowing yourself to be who you're supposed to be. So.
I wanted to read something here if it loads. Hold on one moment here. So this is from an interesting website that I stumbled upon, and it's just a little bit about body image and ability, and right off of what Bobby was just saying. And the website is called Healthy is the New Skinny. Healthy is the New Skinny. And it starts with a quote, "As love grows in you, beauty grows too. For love is the beauty of the soul." And that's St. Augustine of Hippo. And I'm going to not read the whole thing. You can definitely check out that website. It's to me, I think it's a beautiful website. And this is from the Core Beliefs. "It's hard not to say, I love my body. It is not enough to say, I love my body. How you treat your body is how you show your love and respect for your body. By changing your thought process, you can live a realistic and healthy lifestyle by being active and eating foods that are nutritious and supply your body with energy." And another quote, "I realized if I was ever going to be happy in my body, I had to exercise and eat healthy foods out of self-love, not out of self-hatred and punishment. And this is again from the website, and I think this really ties into what we're talking about external reference points versus internal. And they use the word woman, but it could be man also. We believe every woman has her own natural, healthy weight and body size that cannot be defined by a chart or a comparison to models in magazines. You are your most beautiful when you are healthy in mind, body, and spirit. One of these should not be valued over any of the others because together they are equal, a perfect balance. Be kind and forgiving to yourself. You are human, and this life is a learning environment. You can't change the past, but in this moment, you can make choices that will determine who you will become in the future. We believe feminine energy and love will be abundant if we unite as a team to support and love each other and ourselves. The past ends now, the future starts now, and every moment of your life is a constant invitation to live happily ever after. We do not believe every single model is unhealthy, but we do believe that by showing only one specific body type, they're talking about in media, abnormally thin and tall, as the beauty ideal for all girls and women is creating an unhealthy negative environment. We believe by showing girls of all different types of beautiful, healthy bodies, not valuing one over the other, this will allow girls and women to be more accepting and loving of their own bodies. But still, it is an external reference point. And then I just wanted to share the founder's story. Bradford and Katie Wilcox are a husband and wife team with over 20 years of experience in the modeling industry. Bradford started as a male model turned fitness model and is currently a Los Angeles-based fashion photographer. Katie Wilcox started in the business as a plus-sized model. Katie found she was her most successful in the industry at size 14 and struggled to feel good about her body because that was above her natural weight. She developed a healthier lifestyle, and she actually took off 50 pounds over 2 years, and she was her healthiest and happiest at her natural size 8, but she found there was no place in the fashion industry for models that are not extremely thin or plus size, and so she actually created her own modeling agency for models that were just every size and every normal size. And after talking with her husband one day about her frustrations with modeling industry valuing thinness over anything else, she said out loud, "It shouldn't be about being skinny, it should be about being healthy. Healthy should be the new skinny." So I thought that went right in with what we're talking about, external references, internal references, what other people think about bodies, and that relates to us as teachers. You can Google, and on Instagram, there's also a really cool blog. I think it's called Curvy Yoga. Actually, that's what it's called, is curvyyoga.com, and that's a teacher. Her name's Anna. I don't remember her last name, but it's all about plus size and real size yoga. You can also look for, there's some Instagram folks who are doing things, amazing full-figured people who are doing yoga, and your perception, if you saw them, might be, if they walked into your door at a yoga class, would be, oh, they can't do anything at all. And they're doing some poses that are really intermediate advanced, that your perception is very much different than the reality. So the bottom line here in this conversation, this discussion for me is try not to have preconceived notions about students. Allow them to experience their body and yoga, and for it to blossom from their internal reference instead of our judgments about what they should be able to do, what it looks like, what their body looks like. But let them be healthy at in whatever way they look or act in their own way. Lisa Ann, do you have anything to add about that?
As somebody who does body work, one of my stories that I accumulated was the very old body workers, Feldenkrais and Ida Rolf. They taught a lot of different people. And one of the men that trained with both of them was a piano tuner, and he was a great big guy. And so this is just the point of view from the masculine. And both Ida and Moshe would, they'd ask for feedback when they would watch people work on somebody. And one of the comments that were made about this particular gentleman was that he was awfully big and that he should probably lose a little weight. And Ida immediately piped in and went, who's going to work on the great big people? Who's going to work on the people that need a little bit of weight behind them? They need big hands. They need somebody that has that extra oomph to work on them. Because, I can work on a great big person, but I have to walk all over them. I'm not in any way meant to work on a football player, and I have, but it's because I could walk all over them. I'd climb on them. But somebody like this particular gentleman, he was built to be able to apply what he knew and use his intuition and actually stay present and use his physicality to his advantage on somebody that was his size or larger. And so in all types of practices, we see that people are judged for no particular reason except but not having the compassion to realize that there's always going to be somebody a little bit different, built a little bit bigger, that's going to need somebody built a little bit bigger and a little bit different to help them. Believe me, you'll be in a room one day and you'll want to go over and adjust somebody that's 6'5" and 240 pounds. How are you going to do that? What are you going to do first? How will you approach that person? How will you lay hands on them? Because they want you to do that. They need you to do that. But again, it's daunting to actually just go, I know what this person needs. I'm going to run my hand down their leg. I'm going to run it up their arm. I'm going to make them feel the energy that flows. So in yoga, you don't have to say anything. Your actions can actually speak much more louder for you if you're paying attention to what that person might need without saying a word at all, just breathing with them.
Thank you. You're welcome. So we're going to move on to another topic, which we've started a little bit, and we're coming back to storytelling and artistic merit. And this is kind of where we get into the icing on your yoga teaching cake. And the question that Lisa Ann posed at the very first class that we got together is kind of where I'd like to start this evening. So grab your piece of paper and a pen. And the question that we asked, or Lisa Ann asked at the beginning class, was, what kind of teacher do you want to be? And the hand-in-hand question of that is, what type of teachers or what type of classes do you like to go to? So take a few moments and let go of your preconceived thought or maybe what you started with, and know that now you've learned, you've grown, you've experienced many different things in this course, and just jot down a couple of thoughts. Maybe they are the same, maybe they're different. What kind of teacher do you want to be? What type of teacher do you like to take classes from? So just take a minute or two and jot down some thoughts. Okay. So, big picture here is that some of us as teachers like to come into our class, we teach the poses, we make a connection with some of the students, and we go home and that's all it is. To me, one of the things that sets amazing teachers apart is their own creativity and personality that shows through in their class. And each of us is different in how we express that. For example, Anton is creative and talented and aware of music. And so weaving music into his class, whether he's playing it or with his musical selections, is one way that perhaps Anton would show his creativity and his personality in his class, his artistic influence, inspiration. But for each of us, we have to find that for ourselves and find where that is. It's nothing that is laid out for you. It's something that involves self-exploration, research, reading, and experience, taking classes with other teachers and seeing how you felt when they said something or did something in the class, and then deciding if that's a route you want to take or not. One way, so there's a couple different ways to express your artistic merit in a class. I'm sure we can think of a lot of different ways, but it can be with music, musical instruments, chanting, it could be meditations, it could be affirmations, it could be with using scent, flower essences, it could be with hands-on work adjustments, it could be artistic creativity with the sequence of the poses, it could be, in just so many different ways that you can express your own creativity. Some things will resonate with people and some things won't. So that's a part of being an artist. When you create something and you put it out there, that you have to be open enough to receive feedback and receive appreciation and someone who's receptive to what you've offered, but you have to be enough thick-skinned that you recognize that it's not going to resonate with everyone and not to take it personally. For example, I love kayaking. I love being out on the water. I love whitewater rafting. I really, really love it. If anybody ever wants to go whitewater rafting, I'm the person to bring along or ask if you can go. Oh, Anton's waving his hands. I love to go to Kernville and the Kern River, and I've rafted in the U.S. and South America. I love it. And so many years ago, when Renee owned Aquata Yoga, I said I wanted to teach a specialty class, and I wanted to teach a class for paddlers, because you can do, if anybody's taken Shiva Ray's classes where you use a staff to do your yoga class, instead of a staff, you can use a paddle. So I thought this was really brilliant, a lot of fun. Guess what? A single person never showed up to the class, ever. Not one person came to even check it out. So it was really in my heart. I loved it. It was a brilliant idea. It was a lot of fun, but it didn't resonate with other people at the time. Now, timing is everything. I could do it again today, and I could have 20 people in my class, but you want to keep that in mind, that it's not a personal attack or a personal commentary on other people seeing your passion, your soul, your spirit's wish, what your creativity is inspired to do. So storytelling is one big way to include our own personal artistic creative side in our classes. And so you can look at different stories that resonate with your heart. And storytelling is how history and rules and experiences were passed down generation, before the internet, of course. But I just want to make a couple of comments. When you're telling a story in your yoga class, you can really weave this in a beautiful, beautiful way. You can tell a story at the beginning of class as an introduction to like a theme or bring focus to the class. You can tell a story at the end of class, going into Shavasana or even coming out of Shavasana, ending the class. You can also tell a story throughout, little pieces here and there, or one of the most common ways I've experienced it is telling a story while doing one or two poses. My favorite is Sean Johnson, right? Did I say his name right? I always get him mixed up. Sean Johnson in the White Lotus Band. He's an amazing storyteller, and all of his classes are based on stories. A couple of tips when you're telling stories. First of all, you want to pick a story that's appropriate for your audience. If you have folks that have never heard about the gods and goddesses, maybe starting off there is a little bit intimidating. So maybe starting with something that's a little bit less, let's say, maybe religiously influenced might be a good idea. Try to develop your stories to have as few words and as much action as possible. That's a good tip. Keep the story short and divide it into parts if necessary. The goal is the yoga class, not just standing around or listening to a story. A story can be repeated many times over a series. So let's say you tell the story once at the beginning of July, you can tell it again at the end of July. It's okay to repeat it if someone's heard it before. Remember that the story is to encourage expression and feeling of emotions. You should use facial expression to get across the point. When you're telling a story, if you tell the story with a straight face, with deadpan face, it doesn't have the same effect as if you're animated in your face, even if you're teaching. Try to remember how you worded the story and try to word it the same way every time. You'll develop your own way of telling it, and it will be your own voice. Oh, don't forget vocal intonation. We've talked about it. It will continue to be a theme. You have to have where you can bring your voice up high or soften it, bringing it down low, making it intense. Anton's the king of that. In your story, see if you can build the excitement or build the suspense. Some examples of stories that you could think about are Jack and the Beanstalk, right? Stories with animals, stories that teach a lesson, or I think we're having some technical difficulties. How about now? You might not be able to see me, but can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Bobby lost us.
I can hear you.
Margaret's there. Okay, maybe it's just Bobby. Maybe Bobby will come on and off. Stories that tell the point of something that's inspirational or committing, sticking to something. So Lisa Ann is going to share a little bit. Obviously, in the yogic traditions, we would be, you know, if we were in India passing yoga down verbally, we would also go along with the storytelling from the ancient texts and also before that. And so Lisa Ann's going to take us down that route a little bit.
I think we've mentioned this before. I found another version of it. It's the villagers and the snake. And the ending on this one's a little bit different. But once upon a time, a venomous, vicious serpent lived in a hole in a hill outside a village. A hermit of great miraculous power also lived in the village. Many of the villagers' children who were attacked by the serpent and stoned to death. The villagers tried their utmost to kill the serpent, but failed. Therefore, they went in a body to the local hermit and asked him to help them. Yielding to the entreaties of the villagers, the hermit went near the hole where the serpent lived and summoned him to come out. When he did, he was scolded for stinging the children to death and instructed never to bite again, but to love his enemies. The snake did not say no can do to any of this. It seemed that the hermit had hypnotized or cast some spell on him in an odd sort of way. Now the hermit left the village for a year in pilgrimage. As he was returning to the village by way of the hill, he thought, let me see how the friendly serpent is enjoying his life. As he came up to the hole in the hill, he found the serpent lying half dead in front of the hole with stitches in his back. The hermit said, hello, what is all this? The serpent whispered, well, this is the result of practicing your teaching. After you changed me, the village boys knew I would not attack any of them, and they threw small stones at me, and after a while, big stones at me, and they wanted to kill me. I got hurt badly. Now I'm lying here with several stitches in my back while trying to love these enemies. I told you not to sting, but why didn't you hiss and scare a bit? Countered the hermit. And that's the crux of this story is you can warn people. It's okay to tell somebody they've stepped over the line with you, and that's what this story represents, is when somebody steps over the line, you don't have to lash out, but you can definitely go, you have gone too far. So, I mean, this is one version of this story. I've heard other versions where there's animals that are afraid of the serpent, and everybody like steers clear of him, and the hermit or the wise one tells the serpent, just act natural. Don't threaten anyone. Don't do the threats. And the ending is always the same, is that I'm not telling you not to defend yourself. I'm not telling you not to take action. I'm just saying don't go straight for the kill.
So I want to ask everybody a question here, give you a minute to contemplate. If that was the story that you were sharing or you were planning on sharing in class and you were going to do it in a class, what are some yoga poses where you would share that story? What place of class would you be? Would it be at the beginning? Would it be in Shavasana? Where would it be? What poses would you be doing? Let's hear some suggestions of where you can incorporate that into your class. Anton's ready to go. Go for it.
Probably if I was doing a repetitive vinyasa and I was maybe pausing and making people hold the poses, if I had run out of other little things to possibly say, or if the class looked extremely good and knew what they were doing, like if it was doing like the Warrior 1, Warrior 2 thing and taking breaths for long periods of time just to kind of fill the gaps. You know, if the class was adept enough at what they were doing that they could kind of go in the flow on their own to follow their vinyasa.
Thank you, Anton. Margaret or Bobby, what do you think?
I think I would probably do it at the beginning of a class and like Anton, work into a vinyasa, kind of an empowering, you know, the message seems to be empower yourself without hurting others or without someone hurting you. So, maybe I always like we've always called it sushi rolls, where you're seated in easy pose and you kind of have that uh, rolling thing, I like that, and kind of tell that story, kind of be the snake listening.
Ooh, I like that idea to actually, that would be a very interesting to create the snake type movement in, find some poses where you do a snake-like movement. That's a really creative idea, Bobby. Nice. Margaret, any thoughts?
I like the idea at the beginning, like they said, but also I was thinking in the middle, kind of to give inspiration to keep going.
Yeah, I like that.
Like motivating, like, okay, you can do it, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like with maybe some strength building poses.
Yeah, like something always difficult.
Yeah. I find it's always, whenever there's a pose where you want to bring a student's attention off of the difficulty of the pose and to their breath or to someplace else, I find that a quick story is fun. For example, if you were doing Navasana, people will moan, but then it keeps them smiling. So great suggestions, great ideas. Thank you. Please hold. Okay, so just wrapping up thoughts on the creative process. Take your pen and paper out and let's say at least jot down 3 ideas you have in your heart for how you could express your creativity in your yoga classes. So everybody take a moment, write down 3 ways that you could express your creativity in your yoga class when you're teaching. We'll give it a minute. Or no? Okay, we're back. So I want to read one last thing about the creative process here. What is the creative process? The best way of explaining the creative process is to think in terms of giving birth. In a moment of inspiration, a seed is planted. It is important to keep a healthy work habit to nurture the process, but for the most part it will happen on its own, as long as you are able to facilitate the process. Your idea is in there growing and developing. You may have even almost forgotten about it, until suddenly it is time to come out. The birth of an idea may be easy. It may be hard. Usually, it involves a lot of sweating, grunting, pushing, and pulling. It is very messy, and a few expletives may be said before the process is over. In the end, you cannot quite explain what happened, but your idea has reached some fulfillment. When successful, the art you produce literally takes on a life of its own and lives on without further input from you. Like a beautiful flower, you water it, tend it, weed it. Make sure it gets plenty of sunshine, but you do not physically pull it out of the ground. You let it happen. You may prune it, train it, guide it, but it can never be forced, nor does it need forcing. You may study it, observe it, try your best to recreate it, but if you try to take the thing apart, you may kill it. One can explain the process in two parallel developments: activities that you may initiate and process that you have to let happen. So on that note, creative process, I'm going to give you homework assignment for our Saturday class. Yay! So your homework assignment for Saturday is to have another script ready. We did the scripts, we went around, people kind of created scripts, played with scripts, tested scripts out this last week. When we meet, you want to have another script that you're going to teach the rest of the class. A short sequence of poses. It can be a beginning, middle, and end, as you choose. And also, everyone should have one piece of storytelling or something of artistic merit to share with the class. So you could include, and this would be included in your script if you were doing some poses. If you wanted something to be part of like a shavasana, then you wouldn't have to tell it during those poses. We could do it afterwards. But something that expresses what's in your heart, in your yoga practice, that is unique to you. If you get stuck at this, you definitely can Google and watch videos of storytelling. You can watch kids' TV programs to get some ideas. Does not have to be storytelling, though. So you'll have at least one script and one thing that expresses artistic merit to share and practice in class. Any questions about that?
How long are we going to have?
Good question. Let's say keep it, let's say 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Roughly. So nothing too long or intense.
Okay.
Maybe 15 if you really wanted to go a little bit longer would be okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Can it be like a guided meditation or?
Absolutely. Totally. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see where we're going next. I think we're on to this. Should we take a short break? Yeah. 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 Let's take a little break. Grab a glass of water, get a snack, stretch your legs, check your email, whatever your heart desires. We'll be back. Let's see. How many minutes do you want to do?
7.
Yeah. Let's come back at 7 o'clock. That's in like 8 minutes.
delicately rolling around in the dirt right now.
Okay, so we're going to go into the yogic lifestyle. We had one of your homework assignments is actually to interview some yogis about their yogic lifestyle. Has anybody started that yet?
I'm doing mine Wednesday with Amy Wheeler's husband, George.
Nice. Good, good, good. So for those interviews, if anybody hasn't started them yet, they can be in person, they can be on the phone, you can Skype, you could send emails with questions, but they should be related to the topic of yogic lifestyle. Could be what is the yogic lifestyle? How do you live yoga off the mat? Bobby has one response turned in. Awesome. So I just want to read something about practicing yoga in life. So we understand that yoga can be the asana, but it's also so much more than that. So what is the yogic lifestyle? Here's a few ways of living yoga, and a lot of these, the yogic lifestyle, Lisa Ann and I were just talking about it. It really is about the yamas and the niyamas. It all goes back to that. So, number one is being honest with others. That involves speaking openly and honestly and always from the heart. Speaking the truth, no lies. Getting away from white lies. No exaggeration for dramatic effect. I'm guilty of that. No purposeful omissions. Number two is being honest with yourself. Sometimes the person we are least honest with is yourself and your actions, the good and the bad, from a detached, objective, third-party perspective. 3, be true to who you are. This has to do with the article about external reference versus internal reference. Get to know yourself and what you believe in. Don't be afraid to stand up for your beliefs. After all, if you don't stand for something, you may fall for anything. Number 4, be kind to your body. Make sure you feed your body clean, whole, healthy foods, and listen to your body and give it what it needs. More yoga, a good restorative class, a warm bath, a nap. Your body really should be your temple. 5, don't hurt the people you love or even the people you hate. First, don't get into bar fights, that's just a given. But beyond that, try not to hurt others in other ways with harmful words or actions or lack of certain words or actions, idle gossip, or even negative thoughts. And this applies to everyone, those you love, perfect strangers, and even enemies. 6, don't take something that belongs to someone else. Whether it's a promotion, a claim, credit for a job well done, a compliment, a great opportunity, money on the sidewalk, whatever it is, don't take anything that doesn't belong to you. 7, offer help to others in need without expecting anything in return. If you're in a position to lend someone a hand, do it, period. It's good karma, and one day you may need help yourself. Number 8, I think, is a really big one, and that is be happy with what you have. Don't make wish lists, but count your blessings instead. Number 9, again, back to the external versus internal reference. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. This goes hand in hand with number 8. Comparing yourself and your life to others is a dead-end road. Just remember, compare and despair. Be content with who you are and how you live your life. And number 10, keep an open mind. Try to maintain a flexible mind, regardless of how flexible you are in your body. Don't be too quick to judge. Try new things and roll with life's punches. For me personally, how I consider that I live a yogic lifestyle is I help the animals on a daily basis. I'm always aware of how they're being treated and what I can do to help in small ways and in big ways. Everything from just being aware of opportunities to raise funds or to gather donations for them, or finding foster homes or adoptive homes, or educating people about the needs of animals in shelters. I also I try to eat as healthy as I can, but I do stay away from animal products, and when I purchase animal products, I make sure that they are humanely treated, free range, fed, healthy, reasonable, those types of things. With my purchases, I can't always purchase things to the ideal, but I have it in mind to try to make conscious choices about the things that I purchase, and if I have any choice at all, I try to purchase it locally or directly from the producer. Sometimes those aren't options, sometimes they are. I try to be compassionate. I try to do unto others what I would have done unto me from the Golden Rule. My choice is to eat a vegetarian lifestyle, to eat vegetarian food, and that's important to me. I do consider that to be part of the yogic lifestyle. I also believe in other people's rights to choose differently. And I think that breathing, conscious breathing, is a really important part of living a yogic lifestyle. So those are just some things from my point of view that are important to me. Anything that anybody would like to ask? One thing I wanted to make a side note, if you Google like Kundalini Yoga, they have a lot of living wellness tips for living the yogic lifestyle that you could check out, like things like what time in the morning you should get up, what type of bath you should take, what oils you should use on your skin, in your hair, in your mouth, what your morning should consist of. So if you're drawn to that, a rigid type schedule, or you want specific directions, that would be a great website. They also have a whole slew of vegetarian recipes on there that you can check out. That would be a good resource for you. Lisa Ann, anything to add with that? I don't know that it's loud enough to hear you. Do you want to translate it to me, or you want me to bring the computer? Hold on one second.
Like the flower meditation that we did at the studio. I was torn about taking apart a flower that I know is going to come apart anyway on its own time and on its own space. I do animal products, but I am very aware that they're giving up life so that I can have life. I'm very conscious of that. I have desires to have things, but my main desire right now is to gain health and wellness, so almost everything else overshadows. And new clothing, new shoes, anything that has to do with gaining accessories external to me being better. Those are the things that I've actually been falling off my radar in a lot of ways. I'm really trying to continually clarify. And I think as we age and as we grow up, these things do evolve and change for us. Um, and I've always been a caretaker of people. And so when I want to caretake humanity, that's where I think I'm most suited, is to caretake people. But again, you can't caretake people unless you have health and wellness. It doesn't work. So I'm aiming to make sure that I can do that again. So those are my goals right now.
So one of your homework assignments again is to interview people and ask them about their yogic lifestyle and do some of your own research and, you know, write and consider what it means to you to live yoga, a yoga practice on the mat and off the mat. So in the last little bit of class, we're going to wrap up let's see here. We were on the yamas and the niyamas, and we had one more to go of the niyamas. So if you have your book, which is Yoga Life, 10 Steps to Freedom, and this is on page 37. It's Ishvara Pranadhana. And I'll read, may I surrender my ego's will and fill myself with divine love and light. May I feel the all-pervading oneness of the I am presence burning bright. Ishvara Pranadhana means surrender to God. It is dedicating one's actions and will to the supreme being or divine source inherent in all life. It means devotion to God as the inner light shared by every being. Only after the mind, body, and speech have been cleansed by tapas and self-understanding attained by svadhyaya are we prepared to surrender to God. We experience the fullness of the divine principle in everything and accept all that is reflected from that divinity. In offering up all of our actions, we renounce the fruits of these actions and surrender our ego's attachment to particular outcomes. When things that we do not like happen, we trust that somehow everything is in divine order. When faced with things we do not know how to accomplish or do not understand how to solve, we surrender them to God and ask for guidance. And this book uses the G word, the big G word, but you could use higher power, you could use divine inspiration, world intelligence, any word that resonates with you. It is not surrender in the sense of giving up anything, but in the sense of filling up with the consciousness of the divine. In surrendering to higher power, no one loses any part of him or herself or takes anything from another. Living Ishvara Pranadhana, we merge and become one with the light we wish to have shine in our lives. We take in the divine, becoming connected with the oneness. We rejoice, knowing that higher power's will is our will. Happy to be of service, we let go of any illusions of control. There is no longer any separation, just oneness with the all-being light we share. And from page 39, Reflections on Ishvarya Pradhyana. It means devotion to God, but God is understood by the Hindu as the perfect being pervading all things, the life of the world, the inner impulse of which each of one of us is a share. So taking out your pen and paper, we're going to do a couple of short journaling exercises from the book. So again, it means surrender to the oneness, or surrender to God, or surrender to higher power. So start with 3 ways that you already practice this in your life. So just jot down, take a minute or 2 here, 3 ways you practice Arya Pradhana. Next, think of a time you consciously surrendered your actions, where you consciously turned something over, you surrendered what you were doing or the outcome. Maybe you surrendered it to a supreme being, to God. Maybe you surrendered and let go of holding on to the expectations of the outcome. Write for a few minutes on what happened in that situation. The next one is describe how and when you feel connected to a power greater than yourself, or source, or God, or your inner guide. Describe how and when you feel that connection. When do you feel separation? So that could be separation from your inner guide, intuition, source, God, higher power. When do you feel separation? And the second part of the question is, what steps do or can you take to overcome or to bridge the gap of separation? Take another 2 minutes to write on that. Last one. Jot down 3 ways you can practice Ishvara Pranadhana more fully. 3 ways you can practice this surrender to God, to higher power, more fully. This is the last one, so take another minute or 2 to write on this. Okay, so put that journal writing aside, and we're going to end with a guided meditation. So you can get comfortable, take a drink of water, relax. And as you do that, I'll read the affirmations. I see the divine in all beings. I am one with the whole universe. I am filled with the light of God. I surrender the illusion of control. I accept God's will with joy. Thy will, not mine, be done. So getting fully comfortable, closing your eyes. Take a deep breath and exhale with a sigh. Do this again. Take a deep breath and exhale with a sigh. Follow your breath as it takes you within. During this meditation, feel free to substitute the higher power or inner guide name that is suitable and speaks to your heart for you. Breathe in the light of Brahma, the Creator, the light of Vishnu, the Sustainer, and the light of Shiva, the Transformer. With eyes closed, watch your shimmering light filling your body as you breathe in red light at your root chakra, grounding you to the earth. See vibrant orange light begin to fill your pelvic area, enhancing your second chakra. Gently breathe yellow light into your navel, illuminating your solar plexus. Visualize healing green light filling your heart chakra. Feel cool, soothing blue light radiating through your throat. Breathe in dazzling indigo violet light at your third eye. See a halo of opalescent white light emanating from your crown, lifting you into the ethereal energy above. Focus on this colored light radiating through you in layers like a rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and white. Feel yourself expanding with the light of your higher power. Living Ishvara Pranadhana, you are filled with love and light in the service of your higher power. Like a perfect rainbow, your light in each chakra is clear, radiant, and balanced. You see the divine in all, and your heart swells with joy at the connectedness you feel. The union fills your sweet soul. Staying with this for a few more breaths. After the next inhale and exhale, bring one hand to your belly and the other hand to your heart. Take a few breaths here. And when you're ready, bending your knees to your chest, if you're reclining, giving them a hug, rolling over to your right side, taking a few breaths. Carefully using the strength of your arms. When you're ready to press yourself up to a seated position, take a few moments here to reflect on the yamas and the niyamas. The yamas are moral principles. Ahimsa, non-harming, non-violence, gentleness, full acceptance of self and others, and honoring of life, unconditional love. Satya, truth. Knowing thyself, behavior that reflects truth, clarity, and consistency. Honoring one's own perception of truth and that of others. Asteya, non-stealing, not taking what belongs to others. Trust in the flow of abundance. Brahmacharya, moderation. Continence of body, speech, and mind. Moderate, mindful strength in service. Aparigraha, non-attachment, non-greediness, freedom. Freedom from attachment, letting go, trusting that needs will be met. Niyamas, moral practices. Socha, purity. Purity and cleanliness of the body, mind, and spirit. Conscious eating. Pure heart. Santosha, contentment. Accepting whatever fate brings with balance and joy. Maintaining serenity in life's ups and downs. Tapas, endurance, discipline. Willpower, discipline of body, speech, and mind. Svadhyaya, self-study. Who am I? What is my purpose? Ishvara Pradinahana, surrender to God. Dedicating one's actions, will, and being to a higher power. Devotion. Surrendering ego and attachments. Rejoicing in knowing that the universal will is our will. Allow a full deep inhale and long exhale. Inhale the arms overhead. Reach through the fingertips, lengthening through the side body. Bring the palms of the hands together in front of the heart. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. May all beings in the world be happy and free. Namaste. Thank you all very much. If anybody wants to stay on with any questions, we're happy to answer them. Otherwise, you get out of class a little bit early today. And I will be seeing everybody on Saturday, or everybody that can make it. And again, your homework assignment is to work on another script and something of artistic merit, including, something of artistic expression, either in your practice or before or after. Again, any questions, just feel free to let us know. We'll be here on mute for another few minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Namaste.
Noon or 2 for Saturday.
Come again?
We meet